The boy helps his father with the farm work, but he deliberately picked the tomatoes. He picked all the green fruits. Father got angry. He took the bamboo whip and was about to hit him. Lin Zhisha hurriedly stepped back a few steps. He dodged the bamboo whip that father swung at him. The ground was covered with small green tomatoes, scattered in the field. It was heartbreaking to see. Father was panting heavily. His face turned purpler. He raised the bamboo whip and was about to charge forward again. He shouted, "The tomatoes I worked so hard to grow. You have ruined them all. I will beat you to death today. This wasteful child cannot be tolerated." The villagers working nearby all gathered around. They pointed and talked about Lin Zhisha. They all said this child has become confused from studying. Wasting crops is a huge mistake. They all urged father to discipline him properly. However, Lin Zhisha was not afraid at all. He shouted loudly, "Don't hit me for picking these small green fruits. Our family's tomatoes can yield more. Even better." Father was unwilling to believe it. He only thought he was making excuses. He was being evasive. He lifted his foot and was about to chase after him. Grandfather leaned on his hoe. He hurried over in a rush. He grabbed father's arm. He said sternly, "You stop first. Zhisha has never done anything absurd. Let him finish speaking. If he really is wrong, it won't be too late to punish him later." Father was firmly held back by grandfather. He angrily threw the bamboo whip to the ground. He glared at Lin Zhisha with anger, waiting for him to provide an explanation. Lin Zhisha steadied his mind. He slowly began to explain the reason. A few days ago, the teacher gave a quiz in class. All the children in the class were scratching their heads, unable to answer the questions. Only he finished the test paper early. The teacher was afraid he was writing carelessly. He was going to punish him by making him copy scriptures. When he took a look at the paper, it turned out to be a perfect score, continuously praising him for being wise and perceptive. He also understands the family's situation. On his way home from school, he passes through the village back to the old jujube grove. He ran into the old jujube farmer, using a bamboo pole to knock down the densely packed small green jujubes, leaving only a few strong fruits. He stepped forward to inquire. The old jujube farmer said, "The young trees bear too many fruits. The nutrients cannot be distributed properly. The small fruits will never ripen, and they also weaken the tree. Thin out the weak fruits. Only by leaving the fruits can they grow big and sweet." This matter lingered in Lin Zhisha's mind. He passes by his family's tomato field every day, and has been puzzled in his heart. His father tends to the tomato field all year round, plowing the land, applying fertilizer, and weeding diligently. The seeds are exactly the same as those from Old Lou's house in the south of the village. Exactly the same. Yet the harvest is significantly worse every year. Their tomatoes are full of small green fruits. The branches and leaves are tangled together. The yellow leaves attract pests. While Old Lou's house is thriving and bustling, the fruits are all bright red and plump. The yield is significantly higher. That night, the moonlight was hazy. Lin Zhisha quietly hid in Old Lou's bushes next to the tomato field. He crouched inside, carefully watching. He discovered that Old Lou not only pinched off the small green fruits, but also cut off the branches that were crossing and overlapping. He left enough space between the rows for ventilation and sunlight. Every 5 days, he watered with fermented rapeseed cake. The amount of fertilizer was just right, perfectly supporting the growth. He was so engrossed in watching that he accidentally snapped a dry branch. Old Lou, who was patrolling the fields, caught him red-handed. Lin Zhisha did not hide or evade, and honestly said he wanted to learn the tips for growing tomatoes to make his own fields yield more. Seeing his young age and his eagerness to learn, Old Lou shared without reservation the secrets of nurturing the small green fruits. The growing period is too short. They won't last long enough to turn red. They will only frantically compete for the main fruit's nutrients. Tomatoes prefer to close their branches and leaves. If it's damp and humid, the fruit will rot and the crops will get sick. You can't just rely on brute force. You need to understand thinning fruit, pruning branches, and observing the weather. Water and fertilizer, Lin Zhisha. Remember every word. Keep them firmly in your heart. The next morning, he went to the field to pick the small green fruits. He had just picked half a row when he was caught by his father. That's how this scene began. Lin Zhisha explained the methods of the jujube farmer and the vegetables and fruits, and the farming techniques of Old Lou. He told his grandfather everything in detail. He even squatted on the ridge, gesturing. He explained the principle of concentrated nutrient supply, but his father remained stubborn. He believed that the denser the fruits are left, the greater the harvest would be. He simply couldn't take it in. His face was frighteningly dark. However, grandfather kept nodding in agreement. Farming relies on hard work, but even more on brains. The child's words make sense. Let's try his method. Father cannot resist. He can only reluctantly agree. But inside, he is secretly worried. What if there is a total loss? The whole family won't be able to make a living. Not long after, it rained continuously for 7 or 8 days. The dampness wrapped around the heat. It was suffocating in the fields. All the families in the village suffered. They couldn't bear to part with the unripe fruits, the tomato fields that refused to have their branches pruned, Nutrients were overdrawn. Large areas of tomatoes cracked and rotted, along with the branches and leaves. It was airtight. It also contracted a disease. It became sticky in patches. They cried. It was clear they were about to suffer a total loss. The villagers squatted on the ground. They sighed. They had no way to solve it. Father looked at their own fields. He instantly panicked. Pointing at Lin Jixia, he started another round of complaints, blaming him for randomly picking unripe fruits. He ruined the entire year's harvest. However, Lin Jixia remained unusually calm. Following the method he learned, he worked in an orderly manner. As soon as the rain stopped, he rushed into the fields to remove all the diseased leaves and rotten fruits, to stop the spread of disease. Then he cut off all the dense side branches, to improve ventilation between the rows, and dug drainage ditches between the ridges, to drain away standing water and prevent root rot. Father watched him work steadily, and methodically, and suppressed his anger, joining in to tend to the fields. After spending time together, Lin Jixia would run to the fields before dawn, and rush into the fields, cutting grass to lay around the roots of the seedlings, and bringing fine soil from the riverbank, to improve the hard soil, loosening the soil and tending to it every day, never slacking off. Father watched, as the tomato seedlings grew stronger day by day, with upright stems. His doubts completely dissipated, and he even took the initiative to consult the old farmers in the village, learning methods to prevent disease and increase yield, fully cooperating with his son. When the weather cleared and warmed up, other families' tomato fields were a scene of desolation. Only the Chen family's tomatoes grow stronger day by day. The remaining fruits are all plump and full, bright red and shiny. In the blink of an eye, harvest season arrived. The whole village opened their tomato fields for picking. Other families either had rotten fruits and reduced yields, or their fruits were small and bitter. The vines were thin and weak. Only the Chen family's tomatoes were significantly larger than others, with thin skin and thick flesh, juicy and full of flavor. The yield directly doubled compared to previous years, increased by a factor of 2. Securely took first place in the village. Villagers all flocked to the fields to seek advice. No one said he was foolish for studying anymore. Everyone realized he was clever and understood the methods. Father looked on at the yard full of bright red tomatoes. With a face full of guilt, he held his son's hand and repeatedly apologized. Lin Jixia also did not hold back. He taught the entire set of tomato growing techniques to the villagers. It's all the same principle in life and farming. Don't be greedy for more. Don't rely solely on brute force. Understand the trade-off in a timely manner. Find the right method. Work diligently and with care. Only then can you steadily reap a good harvest.